Hey team, how we going? Let us know how that sound goes. Guys and gals, we've got people in the wars. I've just been on the phone to Robbie Kent so I could find out what the hell is going on. The poor bugger has been in his second industrial incident in 1 year, despite the fact he's been around that area for 30 years. He's starting to look like the problem child, the one that's always hurting himself. Where's his stack hat? Jacinda, his wife, is a saint, looking after him, even showed enough charity to laugh at my voice in the background. So to them out there, if there's anything we can do, let's put our thumbs up for Jacinda and Robbie Kent, the master of hounds. And how you going, team? How are you going? Just finished 12-day duty, now have 4 days off. That doesn't sound fair. 12 days on, 4 days off. Everyone else in the world seems to be 10 days on, 4 days. I think they're having a lend to you there, mate. You're working Elon Musk hours there. G'day, the Wasp. How you doing? Dave D. Mate, let's have a talk soon. Looking forward to conversing with you all one by one. Tonight we're going to be talking about no effect on mission. However, it would be if we had young Rob with us at the moment. What does it mean? Simon Powell, I was just talking about you, mate. Were your ears ringing? Nicole King, she's just coming out of an operation herself, getting her pelvis bloody reconstructed. Jesus. Skippy Badge. That's an interesting name at the moment. We just had another platoon, and Zach, from our platoon, has just achieved his Skippy Badge yesterday, while the rest of us were snoozing, wondering whether we were going Coke or Pepsi. We know the answer's Coke, Pepsi, swipe left. He was doing hardcore at the School of Infantry, and he passed. Congratulations. The only thing he can do to prevent him going to infantry now is going AWOL. Absent without leave and not coming back. Going home to mum and dad. He's gone to 6 area, and they're going to be lucky to have him. How we going, team? We got some people watching. How's the sound? Is it all right? Milk makes great mozzarella. Yeah, so tonight we're talking about the weather. At the moment we talk about winter. How does it affect us? What about summer? What about when you do your operational time in North Queensland, Northern Territory, then suddenly get told you're doing a gig in New Zealand or in one of the southern states, going overseas, going to Afghanistan that can have the best of the heat and the best of the cold? I hate to tell you, the platoon commanders don't get the memo when they're sitting inside. Well, the platoon commander will be with you for the most of the time. But the higher echelons, it'll come down through orders that the actual weather has no effect on mission. Now, that could be nothing but further from the truth when you actually ask the soldier who's either wearing too much equipment, too many layers, including body armour, in climates that are over 40 degrees in the tropics, one leg either side of the equator. Or it can go the other way where you can't be wearing a raincoat, can't be wearing a jumper because you're on the move, dismounted, in heavy equipment, right, and it can't afford to overheat when the wolf is at bay and you can't put your stuff on because you're going to overheat. So no effect on mission comes up in the situation bracket of the orders group. It's a very interesting one. G'day, Mad Max. How you going, mate? Drunk Aussie? I wish I was. And if I was, I'd be drinking ginger beer. Navy veteran, you're coming in loud and clear, mate. Loud and clear. Good to have you there, mate. Nicole K, Dave D, I was down at Kapuka this time and the ice had to be cracked on top of the bear pit. For those that don't know what we're talking about, the bear pit, that is what you'll be jumping into, cracking the ice as part of the bayonet assault course, etc., as well as some of the water obstacles of the obstacle course there. And when you go to Kapuka, when you go to the School of Infantry, when you go to School of Armour, Transport, etc., one of the things you don't anticipate is that, if it's raining, they're not going to make us go out in that. Well, yes, they are. And I'll tell you why. Because Kapuka, School of Infantry, School of Armour, IT training, signals, whatever you go to, let us know what the appointment title for signals is down there in comments for those that know. We'll do a little bit of a quiz along the way. Well, you're locked into a time scale and bookings that have been automated, which means they can't be moved left or right. They don't move left and right for Anzac Day. They don't move left and right for Remembrance Day. So they definitely don't move when it's raining. And as a matter of fact, the saying is, if it ain't raining, it ain't training. But that's said by someone who's normally got carpet under their boots while they wear a Howard Green equivalent that you wouldn't wear out in public. Simon Powell. Kaz, this week we lost a RAF aircraft maintenance crew to the cancer. Can we spare a moment for Bruce Reedy? Formerly of 775 Squadron, a real guy, RIP. Mate, we definitely can, mate. And that cancer, one of the sad things about it is no one cares about it until it touches their family. And sadly and ironically, it ends up affecting all of us, okay? So, mate, to him and his family, one, thanks for the service you gave to the Air Force. We'll still tease him for being a Top Gun wannabe. But, mate, all the best to him and his family. Bruce, I hope he enjoyed his life. I hope he had plenty of time to say goodbye to his family. But I still hope that the catastrophic end of his journey was fast enough that he didn't suffer too much. So to you and your brother, mate, Nutsu Cow, can we get some thumbs up? Unless we forget to a guy that had the calling for the Blue, for the Thunderbirds. And I hope you're okay too, Simon. Raise a glass to him. Ginger beer would be my choice at the moment. Alcoholic ginger beer. None of us know how we're going to go. You know, I've got one of my best mates, my godson's mother, at the moment with Alzheimer's. And she had a fall the other day, and she is in a really bad way, you know. I'll be going down to see her in the next week. I'm doing several speaking engagements through Victoria, you know, for some corporate events. So I won't be there for a few days of that, or I'll be streaming to you from the van, which means there'll be no edits itself. If I've been a bit distracted this week, for anyone here, can we get some thumbs up for those? Don't tell me what you're into, but who is in the stock market? Because we have had a red 2 weeks. You know, when you lose triple figures, and I don't mean like a whole dollar, I mean add some zeros on top of that in a 10-day period, it tends to sidetrack you guys. So that's where I've been trying to look at the financial side of things. That's okay, Simon Powell, absolutely. You know, the one important thing is we get to say someone's name, right? And then from there, as a matter of fact, if you want, Simon, we can call you in 2 seconds and you can give us a quick rundown about your mate so that we feel like we've actually given him the proper send-off. We also lost an artillery young sergeant while undergoing a routine operation. Good for the person having the operation, bad for everyone else, because at least they didn't suffer. I've lost a great guy named Robbie McKay that way as well. Very, very sad indeed for their family. Lest we forget, and we're starting to take for granted when someone goes for an operation these days that you're going to come out of it A-OK, get a jet, some bloody cheese, and a taxi home and you're fine. Shit still goes wrong. And if it's going to go wrong, it normally goes wrong in a hospital, funny enough. Andy Lavender, good, great chat the other day, mate. Yesterday it was Bailey's hat, throws the hat, lands on Bruce's casket, you know, and pays his respect. Well done, Bailey. Around Dulwich, love you, Kaz, peace and blessings, and to you and your family, mate. At the moment, you wouldn't think it's possible, but my nose is blocked. Look at the size of that. There you go. That's a sundial and a half, isn't it? Big nose for sticking in other people's business. Let's jump out of the that screen for a second. Although it's a nice photo and it shows you that section there in single file in the snow, don't think that has to be people that are from an Arctic background. That can be you. We've got guys at the moment who are going to be training out of Victoria, doing their IETs down there. We've got people that when they deploy will go to the snow. When you go to New Zealand, etc., you've got to learn fast. and you don't always get time to acclimatization. You don't always get a chance to do that. For some reason, when you go to the tropics and you work in the heat, it's a given that we always go, okay, go there, give them 2 weeks off because people can get headaches. Don't know how to basically slow down the water because you can definitely drink too much water. It's the salt you need to replace. Right? When you do operations in the tropics and it can get over 50 degrees when you're working in armoured vehicles, which is motorised, mechanised, armoured core, everyone, protected mobility, you can guarantee that not everyone's going to have their air conditioning working and the job doesn't finish. I've never been in an air-conditioned armoured vehicle. They said the lav was, I believe. It didn't feel that way in the back. But, yeah. For some reason with the cold, they just throw you into it. Wearing clothes that don't fit properly. There you go. There you go. Stick man. One of my toes froze in 2007 and has been numb since. That must have been what happened in my heart. Well done, Sticky. Yeah. I was looking at a situation that occurred. Today I found out about it, actually. And I was thinking about making a video about the Tale of Two Soldiers, but what I might do is cover it now if we can get 7 thumbs up of hands of colour. If I can see 7 of those, I'm going to tell you the tale of 2 soldiers. It's a tragic tale, and it's one that's playing out right now. I see those 7 hands of colour, then I'll quickly talk to Dave D and I'll let him know what's happened. As a matter of fact, wait 2 seconds. Let's hear the dentist's voice. Let's hear him. Let's hear him. Scum, Dave. This is one of my civilian mates.
How are you, my friend?
G'day, mate. We won't talk about what you do for a living or what your actual name is.
Yeah, I'm a bus driver.
Roderick. We got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They've got to be hands of colour there, Andrew Lavender. You've got to look like you've been wiping with no toilet paper. Let's go. There we go. There's our 7. Situation occurred today where I was informed of a situation of 2 soldiers and how their lives are so effing different right now. Okay, do you want me to go on?
Yep.
Okay. How often do you reckon I try to tell people the emphasis of being fit before you join the army? Before you join the army?
Yeah, 100%, 24/7.
100%.
That is your message.
That is my message. That's the one thing I say about, because not another thing matters, because nothing else will be observed if the very first thing you do, you won't get past first base if you don't pass things physically. And that's what's just happened. So basically what's occurred is we understand that DFRs drop the ball, and although they do a PFA, they have no physical gate, so to speak, at Kapuka, which means they pass on their trash to the IET schools, the initial employment training schools. This is a cautionary tale to everyone that is watching this right now. Welcome new subscribers. If you subscribe, that means you can talk in chat. That's where you get the, freedom of speech, so to speak. Even Amber Heard if you're out there. So, 2 guys going through a platoon in Kapuka, have their parents come and see them at their march out from Kapuka, and then they go to the School of Infantry roughly 3 months ago, 3 or 4 months ago. Okay, we all know that you do a BFA when you go to the School of Infantry the day you get there. Well, the morning after you get up, because you get there at night time. Hey, Tom of the Jungle, how you going, brother? Field operator.
Tom. G'day, mate.
Yeah. Well, one of them fails the BFA. One of them passes the BFA. One of them passed the BFA, got his Skippy badge last night, and he's getting ready for his march out to go to his battalion. in Brisbane next week. Guess where the other guy is?
He's backslided.
Still in holding platoon.
Yep.
So he hasn't even gone into training yet. All because he didn't do the work, because he never came to the channel, because he never came in the trenches with Kaz, because he never followed any link and got onto the bat phone, boom, talking to it now for one-on-one counselling. Okay. So buyer beware.
Level you're doing the BFA twice.
What's that one?
You should be at the level you're doing the BFA twice.
It's the thing. And it's
if you
not
go in
easy.
infantry.
Yeah. So you have to be at BFA standard, guys and gals. G'day, all best wishes, Tom of the Jungle. You know, he's one of our success stories, Tommy is. You know, undefeated, street fighter from the corner, the Penrith Panthers, you know, who's now in the military. Won't say where. You know, he's pulled his socks up. His family are proud of him. He's a saint. You know, and, yeah. I'm looking forward to buying him a drink or a pizza or a steak of his choice. As soon as he gets back here, give me a call, mate. I miss you. He never comes up short, but he's tall as well. So what would your thoughts be, you know, just from a gentleman of your age, what would you be saying to people right now who think you can just coast through military training and that your civilian fitness will be up to the standard, or the fact that even when we talk about no effect on mission, how does the weather play into people's fitness if it's not up? You know, if they don't have the fitness, how are they affected by the heat and also by the cold?
I would say the answer to your first question, what are you going to do when you get injured? What are you going to do when you get hurt? Because you haven't done the work.
Mm.
And because that's all fitness work is ensuring yourself so that you can do the job and not get hurt, because it's a physical job. And if you haven't done the work and you turn up and you think that your everyday level of fitness is going to get you through, you're going to get hurt. And it's hurt. It's not going to be good.
It's not going to be good. And the thing is too, the military is especially once you get out of, once you get out of training, it's more honest than anywhere in your civilian life.
Yep,
you know,
100%.
No one cares if you're injured. The job will go on. No effect on mission. Everyone is either sore, lower limb, okay, back. You know, might even be that you've got situations that are happening at home. The Army doesn't care. You have to turn up and you have to deliver every single time, or you become the weak link in the machine. And if you're the weak link in the machine, you'll be spoken to by people your own rank, by your peers, by all of those affected by your actions. It'll tell you to ruck up, buck up, and get on with your job and save you crying for Argentina. And that's what happens in the big boys world, because if they show pity, guess what? Now they're carrying the gun instead of you.
Yep. Mm. The Army is a machine with no feelings.
Yep.
The Army is there to do a job and get a job done. And if you can't contribute to that, then you'll be cast aside. And that's the brutal fact of it. Yeah. You have to be able to contribute. And to be able to contribute, you have to be fit. You have to do the work.
Yep.
And all those people whinging about medical whatever's through DFR, like, some of them are pretty stringent, but bottom line is you've got to be fit, you've got to do the work, you've got to be in a good medical status.
Yeah. So when you were in the military, mate, you can also honestly tell them that just because there's no snow on the ground doesn't mean you can't get hypothermia. If you are unfit, okay, if you are unprepared, if you are not robust, if you do not have physical toughness, you can't go out and then pack march onto a patrol into a night position for a night occupation for an ambush, which is a surprise attack by an enemy lying. It is
surprise attack from a place of concealment on an unsuspecting enemy, something like that.
Yeah, it is a surprise attack on an unsuspecting enemy by a force lying in wait.
Yep,
that's what it is.
That's
okay,
100%.
So when you go in there, you don't get to be comfortable. you might be laying in rain all night. Because if you make a soldier comfortable, he will get fatigued and he will start to fall asleep. And if you fall asleep, that is equivalent to treason. It's as bad as it gets. You can go to jail.
100%.
So they'll keep the soldier uncomfortable to keep the soldier alert. And when you lay there for 8 hours, once the cold creeps into your heart, the mission might be saying no effect on mission. But I tell you what, you can see the faces of the soldiers when they hear that, no effect on mission, and we're hearing about wind chill factor being below 0. There's no one that can keep up to that. There's a reason why Special Forces will do watermanship in winter and not let them wear the wetsuits. And then when they're finished, make them then service the engine before they go and warm up. So you can operate in the worst parameters. We have to test you to see what your failing point is.
Yeah. And 100%, what you were saying before connects to that. If you're fit, you're going to have a lower failure point or a higher failure point, whichever way you're looking at it, than someone who's not fit. So if you've done the work, you're going to be able to endure colder temperatures. You're going to be able to endure hotter temperatures. And you're going to be able to do the work because you've done the work before you got there.
It's true. And psychology, how is psychology affected by those that are unfit?
Oh, your brain goes to some bad places very quickly. But if you're fit, you can buffer that. You can endure a heck of a lot more before your mind goes nuts. Time to tap out.
So let's say, for example, you're from Portugal, and you're the best runner in the history of Portugal at long distance running. To the point we're talking about marathons here.
Yep.
And then you realise you've never been beaten in Portugal since you were 16 years old. Now you're 27 years old at your peak. And then you realise I'm going to the Olympics and it's impossible for me to win. How do you feel when you've never had someone even test you for second place? Now all of a sudden you've got to be prepared to be in a race where your very best effort is probably going to come 67th.
Yeah. Now you're playing with the big boys, and it's a different mind game.
Yeah. But it's no different to someone, once if you think that you're fit compared to your civilian friends at school, then all of a sudden you add a pack, add webbing, add body armour, add rain, take away food, add fatigue, add chafe, sore back, no sleep, and no time you're going to get home. If I was to ask you just off the top of your head what your definition is of cold, I'll give you 1 minute to think about this, team. Put in comments what you believe is the definition of cold, and then I'll tell you what I believe it is. Press like if you can, team. What do you think is the definition of cold? Will I get bullied at Kapuka if the instructors find out I was in Army Cadets? Chunky, there's no need to tell them you're in Cadets, mate. Don't give them anything to hold against you. It's more they'll expect you to be of a higher standard if you say you've got pre-training.
Keep cadets in your pocket. That's something that might help you because you've done a few things before, but don't tell anyone.
Yep. Okay, Sticky's gone for under 20 degrees. All right. I won't waste your time on this one, lads. I'll quickly tell you. My definition of cold, because straight away people think of Siberia and shit like that, even though Siberia is actually warmer than Australia at the moment. I think it was 18 degrees today. Is when you are so cold that you cannot foresee the next time in your life that you'll be warm. And what I mean by that is when you go outfield, you are waterlogged potentially, or you're in a cold environment, and there is never a time where you feel warm because you're patrolling. You're out there for at least another 10 days. How cold do you think you can get in 240 hours? Yeah. There's just no hope. There's no, we'll get warm soon. Okay, what about having a soup? No, there's no cooking on this patrol. When you get in, when you've got hypothermia. People don't suddenly come over and go, let's get him out of there, he's got hypothermia. What they'll do is grab you in the kind of guys that wear pink on weekends to get some body warmth into you. You know, maybe not even that. You know, maybe you won't know until you go to bed that night, and undo your sleeping bag for the hour or 2 hours you get, and then you are uncontrollably shivering like Amber Heard when she sees her bank balance. I've been that cold, I've nearly had tears in my eyes, but they would have frozen. It is the worst feeling, and you think, I could not get colder, and then you hear the sound of footprints. What's happening? Oh, you got to get up. It's your picket. Got to get back up. Righto, no worries.
Yeah, real cold is when you don't even look forward to being warmer anymore because it's just beyond. It's gone.
Yep.
Real cold is like I sent you some pickies of. Real cold is when you're cracking the ice so that you can jump into the pit full of water. That's real cold.
And people realise when they get to Kapuka and they see the instructor with that cat smile on their face when you see the obstacle course in winter and they're already waiting and they can see the pleading in your eye, that it's like you don't even care that I'm freezing, and you can see they're actually enjoying it. And then you know there's no point in saying, are we actually really getting in the water? Because all you're going to do is feed into their sick sense of humour. And then you realise for the rest of your career when the platoon sergeant says, take your warm weather kit off, you know, no jumpers, no raincoats, but always have a layer. I'll always tell you, always have a layer no matter how hot it is, always have a T-shirt underneath. You know, because whether it's over 40 degrees or not, it stops the mozzies from biting your back. You know, it just gives you that option, you know, of having one bit of protective clothing that stops rashes, etc. Because once you're cold too, and your nipples look like snapped off broomsticks, you know, mate, they'll get worn down. You know, you get road rash on those.
But when it's cold, isn't water the most terrifying thing?
It is. It's like holy water to a vampire.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You don't want to go near it.
It's like marriage to a bachelor. Terrifying.
Yep.
It's like an audit to a politician.
Yeah, that's getting serious.
It's like the truth to Joe Biden.
I determined short time ago, talking about weather, and cold's one thing, but you know, some people can't even handle rain. And I've worked out that the only thing you need to handle rain is a hat, because there's nothing worse than rain hitting you on the head when you haven't got a hat on. Just put a hat on.
Yep. Yep.
And it's like a magic shield.
Yeah, it is.
And then, you know, life carries on. In the army, there's no difference between raining and not raining. You just keep carrying on.
And how bad does it feel when you're in an area where you're completely dry and you've already had your orders? You know, no one gives an F that you're going out in it. And it's like nature just doesn't care about you.
Yeah.
And you can hear that. And as you walk out, initially you go, hey, oh. You try to stay a little bit dry, but you're going out for 7 days, 10 days longer. And then when you feel that bit of water just goes complete off-road and goes right down to the Hershey Highway and your anus gets wet, when water hits your anus, after that you just go, and relax, because you know, I can't get wetter now. When your third eye is getting a drink from your jocks, always wear boxers, not jocks, but James, is it normal that I enjoyed that shit though? You clearly haven't been in it long enough there, James. I've got a sixth sense of humour, don't get me wrong. I love it when I'm feeling bad looking around and going, that guy with the tattoos all the way down to his wrists, he's not feeling very bikey at the moment either. You know, it kicks the shit out of everyone.
I love other people's discomfort.
Yeah. Yep. Simon Powell, what's it like in the Air Force when it's in winter? Do you actually get, you know,
turn the thermostat
does the heater get, you know, make your skin itchy? Does the aircon, You know, so what happened if they turned that off? How do you prevent trench foot? That is a good question, Chunky. What you got to do is just change your socks. But eventually you run out of socks. You know, and then it comes out when there's administrational periods, and you will get trench foot. We've had it so it feels like your foot is falling off. You know, where you can't even walk barely because you're like lame like an injured horse. But no one cares, mate. You've just got to suck it up. Whatever the platoon sergeant can still walk around, and the platoon commander's still walking around, section commanders aren't going to tell you. You know, occasionally you might bring a medic in, you know, to have a look over the people. That's platoon sergeant's job, FFI, free from infection. I think what we're saying is don't ever expect sympathy in the army. You will never get it.
No. You'll start doing things like turning your socks inside out to extend their life and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's just, you know, you just got to suck it up.
The
if
stuff
you
that
run out of socks, just fuck them off. Just, sorry.
How's the way the way a dog looks at a bush sock? It is like it is the best tasting roast to a guy in jail. You know, I could never sense how much they want it. It's like a teenager, the way they want their mobile phone. It's crazy.
Yep.
We never got spare socks for the first couple of months in East Timor. And I remember within the first 3 days, your boots were white for the amount of salt that you were losing.
Yeah.
There was no point in complaining. We never showered for the first month. And then when we got our first meal, it was meat that had been cooked in a bucket. And you just had to reach in with your hand and grab a handful of bush meat and eat from that. And you don't complain.
That sounds better than a rat pack.
Yeah, the ration pack. Never. You won't like those for long. Carl P's here. G'day, mate. How you going?
Carl, good on you, mate.
Last time I saw that many yellow hands, it was a boat just off northern Australia asking who wants to be an Australian citizen.
He could illustrate The Simpsons with that effort.
Yeah. You know what? He's asleep on the keyboard. How long have you been on? Carl, we haven't been on that for that long, mate. We just had the tale, Carl. The tale of two soldiers where two guys that went to Kapuka together, you know, got out of Kapuka, went to 343 infantry duty first, okay, to the Royal Australian Regiment, went to Singo, one passed his BFA on day one failed his BFA on day one is finished his hardcore, the culminating physical activity of all military training in the School of Infantry today and got his hat badge, the Skippy badge, bam, that makes him one of our brothers. The other one is still waiting and holding platoon, watching his mate march out, being able to call corporals mate now instead of corporal. Yeah. All of that could have been avoided by simply making yourself more appealing to women in the cot. It's out of control. Subscribe if you haven't already, team. I want to hear your voice. Let us know what's happening with you. Let's talk about the fact that, you know, no effect on mission, all of those things that would stop you or make you cancel something this weekend, long weekend, are the sort of things we relish, because the more unappealing it is, the weather, your officers will now be able to look at the most likely course of action of the enemy, the threat, the civilians, and understand they're smart enough not to go out in this. So we can assume that's going to give us some extra fog of war to get closer to where our area of operations is likely to be and play that against them, because we're the only dumb dickheads out in it. Mother Baron, I thought it was Mother Bacon. That's a pretty cool name. Mother Baron. Baron Mother. Oh, that's put a dark spin on it. As a matter of fact, Baron Mother, that sounds like an oxymoron. Baron, but still had kids. Okay. Liam William.
Tom's having a great old time there. All
this talk about fitness and suffering in the rain, I'm I'm hoeing into a fat, tasty pizza and drinking a Coke right now. How good is it, mate? How good is it? Nothing brushes the teeth like Coca-Cola. And look who's here. JJ, our Submariner. I don't know any gap years that stayed in, says JJ. Yeah, but you can't get out because you're trapped inside the can, brother. You know? JJ. Dave D. Is this our famous JJ, the Submariner? Or is this a different JJ? Guardian 27. Wouldn't most of the gap year be spent in Kapuka and IETs? Never made sense to me. Yeah, it is. And look, the thing is, with gap year, I could never knock it for a simple reason that I think that we should have national service. So the benefit someone gets from gap year is 100% more than what would be by not doing gap year. What I don't like about gap year is the fact that the soldier, the recipient, the civilian, has done all of the hard work that comes with the training, with the lead up, with the security clearances, everything. And just when they're getting ready to take their foot off the pedal a little bit and enjoy the experience of being in the military, now they're off. They're out. So they're not getting returned the benefits for all the work they've done already. So I think they're just getting the worst end of the stick there.
Yeah, you know? I've got some pretty strong thoughts on gap year, but it's probably not the right time for me to share them at this point.
Yeah. I just think that when you go to training, you don't know what it's like to be in the army when you've done Kapuka. You don't know what it's like to be in the army when you've only done Kapuka and IETs. You know what it's like to be in the army when normally you've done 4 years, because then you've been in there and seen more than one cycle of an annual workload. So you get to actually evolve with it and go, oh, okay, the things that used to worry me are the things that don't worry me now. The conversation I didn't understand then, I do understand now. The things that while I was in the learning process, now that that's all a smooth muscle memory, I don't have to panic. I've got no anxiety. I know exactly what I need to do. And now I can look in between the lines and do the implied tasks and make myself the best version of myself. Now, you know what? I might stay in. It gets quite relaxing, you know. It gets quite relaxing. Get used to working in spurts. Enjoy the moments of being goddamn bored, because a platoon commander can turn that on its head real quick. And then all of a sudden you're going, please, sir, can I be bored again? I'd say do gap year only if you intend on doing something, study or a trade or opening a business on top of that and staying in Army Reserve forever. You know, otherwise, you know, commit yourself to the 4 years, let the doors open and close around you, and then decide after you've done 4 to 6 years, not 46 years, on whether this is what you do then, an informed decision. Otherwise, I think the government gets everything it wants, yet you don't get all your boxes ticked.
Yeah, I would say do gap year if you want to be in the Army Reserve, not the ARA, and you want to get there quickly.
Yep.
And you want to be a soldier. I don't. Yeah, I better be careful what I say, but I think the gap year is okay as an accelerated pathway for a soldier to be in the Army Reserve.
Absolutely.
I'll leave it there.
I totally agree with that. And Chunky, what does our army do when not in war? That's very, very simple, mate. We train for war. Every single thing that we do is training for the day that the glass breaks. So that when it does happen, we need the least amount of time to do a MEL mission event list that is based on specific training that we're going to be doing in that target location. We always are meant to train for the worst day, conventional combat, because you can always pull that back within the 3-block war back to doing service protected evacuations, towards doing low-level operations, to doing humanitarian. You know, you'll be ready to do that by training for conventional conflict with a peer-driven enemy. You know, so that's what we do. When you see a soldier that's doing nothing, playing footy, you know, that's our recovery time in between field time. You know, it does, believe me, it marries up with itself. We get a lot of time off at Christmas. We get a lot of time off at September and Easter, but that is not for the soldier. That is for his children. That is for his family to be able to see Dad.
And those bonding times are the times that makes the subunits become a strong unit as well. When those guys bond over playing sports,
Yep.
they are becoming stronger together.
One of my favourite things, other than playing sports, when we go on exchanges against in the US, one of my favourite things is when you used to see rifle companies, and platoons getting around at least platoon level, 30 men, 100 men, 600 men, with their battalion colours on, getting around while another battalion's colours are around, and then watching the other call signs, the way they sort of live or scamper around to keep out of your way. I really love that.
Yep.
Sitting at formal dinners across from someone at the sergeant's mess who's from cavalry or armoured corps, and then another person from artillery, and watching the banter going back between artillery, armoured corps, and infantry, and then the Ramey guy that just goes, I reckon you're all fuckwits.
Bloody Ramey.
And
where's Bretty?
Sorry?
Bretty's our Ramey. Yeah, there we go. He's there.
There he is. Bam, look, all of a sudden, he woke up. You're on picket. You're on picket, son. There's a saying that is disgusting, but always makes me laugh, and that is when you're infantry, at least, you get the sash, the red sash that you see in the photos that I've got. Only infantry get them. And the saying is, sash gets the...
Yep.
Gash. The girls love the sash. They do. Yeah. And the funny thing is, when the ladies, lovely ladies, are standing with a guy from another corps, and they're asking, they will come over to you and ask you, oh, what's that? So they'll ask you about your uniform in front of their husband who hasn't got one. And you're like, woohoo! How come his combat badge looks different to yours? Because it's not the same. Because we got ours, because we asked for one back in Vietnam times. Mother.
Why does this hat badge look like a bomb?
That's right. Why is yours so big, artillery? Are you projecting? Applied to the Army yesterday and received the email for the aptitude test today, making sure I read a lot of the website before it. You've been a big encouragement to me and actually try to join. Mother Baron, mate, one thing I can recommend, and that's to anyone that's on here, because the amount of people that we've actually put back online that were probably going into a dangerous position when it came to the recruiting aspects, whether it be the U session, assessment session, OSBs, etc. If you're not on the bat phone for the price of a coffee a month, you're doing yourself an injustice. Honestly, we've got girls, ladies, women, and we've got guys, and they have no problem. And we've never had, as far as I'm concerned, someone wasn't happy with the alignment that it gave them with their dream calling to go after the military. Because I'm telling you now, your military coach that you get, may not be from the same service, probably not going to be from the same corps, and has potentially, that's enough out of you, Bretty. They might not be aligned with your passion either, like this ADD weirdo is, How come your lanyard is on the different side? Now, I forget why our lanyard is on the left side. I forget. I don't know, but I do. But I do enjoy.
Traditions is the answer to that question.
Yeah, customs traditions. My job as a platoon sergeant was to uphold those customs traditions. I should know better, But yeah. So I've got to be honest with you and say I can't remember, mate.
Well, there probably isn't an answer to that question.
Yeah,
it's come from somewhere long ago, and there's various units who have their lanyards on the left. And there's some who aren't infantry who have it on the left, the odd one or two.
And there's also one that some colours of lanyards that have been, that have legend behind them. Hey, we've got Omar Gillespie, who has just joined us here. Not too cow. Good to have you there, mate. Good to have you here as a member. Can we get some thumbs up from the other members? Omar is with us. Tell us a little bit about yourself there, young man. Seriously, ladies and gents, get on the bat phone, says Carl P. The price of a cup of coffee a month is peanuts for 24 years service is priceless. There's only one caveat I have, is if you're going to get on the bat phone, I swear to God, you've got to have a dark sense of humour, because it goes into the weeds real quick, and you'll be the one trying to get off the phone, not me. I've had a couple of 2-hour conversations with people that just cannot get away from my talking. So sorry for those people in advance. Yeah, welcome, Omar. Make sure you tell us a little bit about yourself, mate. Daz, multi-hands there. Daz has bought himself a water buffalo. Navy veteran. The mother. It's so weird when I talk to all the people through the week. The recurring message that I get, Dave,
yep, is
the amount of people that are not in the military, that don't ever intend on being in the military, that don't know what they want to do with their life either, that try to talk someone out of joining the military and ask, why would you do it?
Yeah,
now,
that's weird.
We had a young man yesterday, mate, and he had that situation. Why would you do that? Why would you get involved? Can't trust the leadership, whatever. Now, I hope you understand where I'm coming from here. What I said to him, my response would be, wait a sec, Omar. Hey, Kaz and lovely ladies and gents in the comments. I'm in year 12 from Canberra, not the HMAS. Okay, bit of humour there already. Applying for infantry. Got my assessment day on the 22nd of this month, and looking forward to it. Mate, Omar, can you please find me on Messenger? Because I think that you got the membership mixed up with the, what do you call it? With the Patreon. And what I'll do is I'll throw you the Patreon number on Messenger, and then we'll have a talk and we'll get you squared away, mate. I like your name. So, hey, Bex, there you go, mate. I wish I was gaming for season 1 of Battlefield 2042, but I just haven't had time. So this guy was asking, what can you say to someone, basically, about why would you want to join the army? And I'm like, okay, so you don't understand why someone would want to join the army, why we would ever go overseas, etc. That tells me one thing, that we're not doing enough history of Australian service afield, abroad, and the magnificent things we've done to forge our customs and traditions, abroad, under the finest traditions. But I said, mate, let's put this down to a micro level. So if your friend was playing Xbox in his house and he heard a woman scream at night time, is he telling me that he would ask you, why would you go and help her? Why would you go and help her? You don't know her. She's a stranger. Whatever happens, that's her fault. Let her deal with that. What sort of person would do that? Not me. Not you. So why is it any different when we're in an area of comfort in Australia, that when a scream in the night happens from another country, and an accumulation of coalition forces say, not on our watch, and then they go and get involved in something, why wouldn't you want to be part of the team that helps? The righteous, so to speak. Now, I understand you can look at it from multiple angles, but I don't go into my military career with a political leaning. I go in there understanding I'm there for the brotherhood, I'm there for the adventure and the excitement and whatever else comes with it. Okay, yeah, so I don't understand.
You have to be able to separate the political from situation.
We're not even allowed to have that political standing, are we? So I wouldn't understand who wouldn't be willing, if you know what it's like to go and help a stranger, to be a good Samaritan, to not ask someone which way they politically lean, what way their sexuality goes, you'd help anyone.
Yep.
That's
Just break
why
it down into smaller and smaller things. Would you help somebody who tripped over beside you?
Yep.
Of course you would.
Yep.
Would you help them up to their feet? And so on, right up to the point of would you help someone whose way of life was in danger? Because that could be us.
No matter how they became homeless, if someone asked for $1 and you had $1, you'd give it to them.
Yep.
If they had if they wanted $1.50, you go, yeah, okay, have $1.50. $5, you might go, okay, I could have spent that on the bat phone, but yeah, okay, here you go, $10. All right, you know, you could have gone a bit lower, but right, here's $10. But when you know that you could make a massive difference to someone's life by something that doesn't make a massive difference to yours, the fringe benefits go a long way. You know, with the bat phone, you know, for those that don't know, the money we use for that, quite often we pay for people's either their fuel, okay, for strangers' groceries, we give it to homeless people, we buy clothes for people, we buy food for people. You know, we bought white goods for people so they don't have to go to laundromats anymore. There's so many good things we get to do. And because you guys do that, that gives me a chance to be the nice guy. And I love it. I watch videos all day about the people that pay off other people's fuels and all those good deeds, similar to Mr. Beasts of the names you haven't heard on YouTube. I love it.
And just one day we might do something for someone that changes their life just enough that they change all of our lives.
Yeah. We're hoping to give some money soon to Jody, because she's a Gold Star mother from the USA,
100%.
you know, and James Meredith Hupp was her son, you know, and she's lost 2 sons now, and she's a very, very giving lady, and her and Maddie, her husband, we'd love to give them some money to then go out and do a favour for someone in the USA, you know, because they've been with us right from the start, you know, with Ed B Jr., who now is in New York, Syria, you know, doing his first deployment. Yeah. Rock and Roller, you won't complete all the questions for the aptitude. Just watch some of the YouTube videos. Yeah, aptitude tests, they will judge you on what you get wrong, but they don't necessarily expect you to get every question. Nicolek, we had a car crash into my husband's car out of the front of our house. First thing I did was run outside to render first aid with hubby right behind me. This is what the military does. That is 100%. A fantastic explanation in the simplest forms to say what we do. People straight away jump to the conclusion that our job is to put the bayonet on. That is at the highest end. But everything short of that, you know, is helping civilians, protecting civilians by being the sheepdog in the paddock.
We run towards the loud noises. We don't run away from them.
That's right. Historian music. If I could have a musician sitting in the corner of my luscious house, which I haven't got, it'd be a harp player. That'd be nice. Mactosh. A must for the aptitude test. If you can answer a question, skip to the next one. There you go. Remember, an aptitude test is about your problem-solving capability. It was designed by the military from the USA to determine whether someone had officer potential, and it's also to put you into a bracket of what your ability is going to be, because your aptitude can get worse. It won't get better. And if you sit 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 aptitude tests that are completely different, you will still genuinely always fall in the same band where you belong. And banding allows people to be able to put you into certain niches that make you more suited for certain jobs that fall within those brackets as well.
Yeah, that's something that people often get wrong. You can't study for an aptitude test. You can improve your like brain power by working on it and using it and that sort of stuff. But an aptitude test is a benchmark of where you are right now. It's not something that you need to spend a lot of effort and energy, and you're actually better off probably just relaxing and going into that aptitude test and just doing the best that you can with the questions that come up.
I think this is something I've probably never covered on here before. The aptitude test is not there to see if you're suffering from mild retardation, which is actually indicated by certain scores that you achieve on a consistent basis on an aptitude test. Okay, what it's there designed is to see how high you can go, not how low you are, how high you can go. Because you might come in and say, my choice of career is this and that. And then you might do this, and I might go, dude, you are off the chart. And I don't mean having not scored at all and spelt your name wrong. I mean that you might be completely underselling what your potential and capability is for something that you don't know exists. It could be helicopter pilot. It could be Air Force pilot. It could be OSB, Officer Selection Board, that you're now qualified for. It could be intelligence. It could be electronic warfare. It could be cyber analyst. So don't think that it is there to trip you up. I don't think I've ever had too many people say they failed the aptitude test.
Nah. It's like a jump test. You know those tests where you got the little things that you've got to jump and flick the little levers to see how high you can jump? That's all it is. It's to see how high you are in the rungs. And there might be you might be getting so stressed out about that test, but in reality, most of the job roles you'll open up by answering just the very most basic stuff.
Yep.
Because the jobs we do, we don't need to be rocket surgeons for most of the jobs. So you just go in there, do the best you can with what you know from what your life's given you up to that point, and 99% of people are going to get what they want out of that aptitude test.
It's true, and I'd be nervous if I went in there. But the underlying message is it's not designed to see how dumb you are. It's designed to see how smart you are.
Yep.
That's what it's designed to do. And I'll tell you something.
Where can we push you? Where can we give you? Where can we lift you up to?
Yep. And because they want to get the most out of you. Remember that. People always get offended about their real aptitude test because I think they want to be higher. I don't know why. It's like a physical part of your body. If you cannot change it, reading a book will not change it. So I think the dumb person doesn't know why the smart person looks at them the way they do. And the smart person doesn't know why the dumb person looks at them the way they do. There is a disconnect when hyper-intelligent people, I see it all the time. When I see intelligent people looking at me there, when that dog puts his head on the side, like, what are you doing, Dad? But I'm lucky. I think completely outside the box, which allows me to communicate. And the thing is, although I've only got an IQ of 178, that I've had some conversations. I don't know what mine is at all. I've had so many conversations with so many intellectual people, so many well-read people, so many well-lived people, that what that gets me to do is learn anecdotally from other people's lives and know what to avoid. And I've been very, very lucky in a lot of times too, where I didn't even realise I was in quicksand. Guardian 27, my aptitude test said I'm clairvoyant. But I haven't taken it yet.
Champion Guardian.
Have we had anything from Mr. Kent there, the keeper of hounds?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen anything.
Historical history music. Sorry, my eyes, mate. Specsavers. I want to join, but I only have one goal, which is infantry. Is that stupid? No. It's a massive goal of mine, but my parents think I'm wasting it. The reason why you have more than one role to go for, and I would recommend if you want to only go infantry, remember, you've got no idea what you're talking about at the moment. So you're saying, all I want to do is infantry, but you don't know anything about Armoured Corps, which is very similar and shares the FEBA, the forward edge of the battle area, okay, with infantry. So that's the second one for you. And another one might be engineers. Why would you be a tradie? Carl P's probably going, shut up, Kaz. Why would you be a tradie in a civilian life and go in and meet potentially a hostile tradesman as an apprentice getting paid a little bit more than what a seagull gets in the town square, you know, when you can go and join the army, go to engineers and be on $70,000 plus as a first-year apprenticeship and still be wearing the uniform, and 4 years later you come out fully qualified, open your own business, and then go and employ the old tradesman. You know, get together with another couple of guys, make an amalgamated business between yourselves, the best start, the best brotherhood, and from there you own the world. Well done.
Yeah, it's really good to have focus. Like if you've nailed down, I really want to be infantry, that's great, and you can lock in all of those fitness requirements and all of that stuff, and that's great. But always keep in mind that there's a lot of roles in the army, and a lot of them are great roles, and they might give you all of what you want, plus they might give you a bit more. They might give you something back.
Yep.
So don't discount other roles. Like I went into my journey thinking infantry is everything. And, you know, there's other roles which are like infantry. Well, I shouldn't say like infantry because I'll chop my head off in a sec. But there are other roles which are peripheral to infantry, which do recon, which do, you know, cavalry is a medium reconnaissance unit, or not unit, corps. So if you're interested in recon, or you're interested in a lot of those skills that go very similar to infantry, there are roles out there that are in other corps. So don't be dejected if you get a different corps than what you originally thought, because you don't know everything before you apply.
Yep.
And you might be surprised. And
you know what? There's a lot of guys that say infantry, and then end up like the tale of two stories that we just said about the two soldiers, where that guy only wanted to go to infantry, and now he can't even get out of holding platoon while he's watching his mate, his best mate, marching out with his parents there. You know, so all he wanted was infantry, but he didn't do the work before he got there. I can tell you now, it is goddamn hard. It is always really hard, because although you're in a team, you're in an individual journey. No one's going to help you with your pack. No one cares that your gun is getting heavy. And this is something you need to know as well when it comes to physical toughness, where we're different to the USA. When you join infantry in Australia, okay, you go into the infantry section. There is no equity and diversity. You must be able to do every single role other than section commander, and you sort of need to be able to step up to it as well, but we'll take you through that as you get further trained. If there is one role you can't do in that section, then you can't have the skippy badge. Yep. You have to be able to carry the gun. You have to be able to carry the GLA. You have to be able to carry the M240, you know, or the Mag 58. The gun is not what makes it heavy. It is the ammunition. And then when you add the weather, take away the food, add the fatigue, add the injuries, add the body armor, the weight, and then the threat. The biggest fear for soldiers is rarely the enemy. You know, we don't need to be scared of him. We're better trained than him. We have the orders that have told us we cannot lose. We can get wounded, we can get killed, but we can't lose, because we don't step out until we've done the planning it takes to defeat him. Yep. If we don't think we can do it in a platoon, we send 3 platoons.
And here's a controversial statement. Always remember, when you're bagging on your officers, they've had to do every step of that journey, from a recruit to a private to a lance corporal to a corporal, section commanders. They've had to do every step of that along the way too. So although they haven't done 4 years, 6 years, 8 years in that role, they've done a little piece of that. And so they actually understand on a general level every part of that machine.
Is a lieutenant or a captain allowed to think on a general level?
No. You do what you're told.
I'm being facetious there.
I know.
I dropped out of school and shot myself in the foot with the job roles available to me, even though I scored high enough to unlock all the jobs for my aptitude. So was yours, Mactosh, was yours all, didn't have the education requirements? And you know what? Sadly, I'm not a fan of that we double dip on that. So we want you to be a bare minimum of this, but then, okay, now you need to do an aptitude test as well. You're going, well, why are you asking for that if the education means nothing if they fail the aptitude test, or if they haven't got the certificates, but then they pass the aptitude test? Because there is certain groups that have dispositions that allow them to have relaxed, employment opportunities too. And that's a scary option when you consider, if we ever have quota, whether it be for physicality, whether it be for mentality, whether it be for criminality, whether it be for whatever, that can come back to haunt you. And we've got to be very careful of that.
You just said my trigger word, Gaz, quota.
Hate it. I just watched a video on HR. A woman in the US just got caught on TikTok saying how HR departments across the globe, might have men at the head of a lot of them, but they're run by women, and saying how much they hate people that think from a conservative perspective, and that they'll do what they can to go behind your back to either make sure, one, you can't get employed, or two, take your job off you as soon as you show you don't think the way they do. And I went, well, I don't think that would be all, for sure. I guarantee that. But I think that the HR departments are a very dangerous agency in today's society, where they can almost become the enemy of their own business, which start to slant more towards equity or diversity, more towards quota than what it is towards meritocracy, and the bottom line figure that business is there to make a profit. That business is there to have a certain amount of success, because as soon as you go about making it look, just cosmetic, you've just blown that business out of the water.
Yeah. I've got personal experience of working in a company that's run by HR, and I can tell you it's a trajectory southwards.
Yeah.
No good will come of that. And I'm glad I'm not in that place anymore. But yeah, there's nothing good that comes out of that mindset.
Navy veteran. And remember, boys, if the Army won't take you, the Navy needs more hardworking young men. Just face forward and polish that rivet, son.
They're good lads, our friends in the other parts of the ADF, but
they get some cool shit. It's funny when you watch.
They've had caps for 20 years. We've only just got caps in the Army.
I know, and you see, it's like I say, I don't understand that RAFIs have the smallest and unfittest people in the tri-service, yet they're the one allowed to roll their sleeves up. It looks like a lesbian march. Sorry for those that were in the march. But you watch, I'll get bashed by a RAFI now. Yeah. Don't fight me. You don't want to be the first person I beat.
Yeah, there'll be that one tough Aggie.
Yeah. The only reason he's tough is because he hasn't done bush hard enough to get injuries yet.
Oh, he did 3 or 4 days bush.
Mum and Dad and Aggie. Yeah.
Oh, I used to know an Aggie. I wish I still did, because they were fun to tease.
Yeah. I remember when the Aggies turned up after we secured the area for them. And then they turned up, and you knew what they were because all of their kit was brand new. It was brand new. And they looked like none of it fit. And they had the most aggressive resting bitch face look on their face. You're going, stop projecting, bro. We're not the enemy here. And then it was only about an hour later, there they were just over from our section, only about 50 metres away. ND, negligent discharge. No. One of them stuffed up, fired a round off, didn't hit anyone, but basically made a battalion group go into, what do you call it, actions on, stand to, was that one of ours? hand me.
For anyone who's like not been in, or is in that process of applying or thinking about applying in the future, and ND seems like it's like, and literally it's a career changing thing that can happen to you. You don't want to ever do it. But the reality is, if you've got good drills and you've been trained properly and you do the right thing, they don't happen. If you ND, you are absolutely negligent in your most basic level of skills.
Yep. And once someone does an ND, that's a negligent discharge, which means you have operated your weapon dangerously, allowed a round to fire against your own will. It's like when parents have a child that gets left in a car and the child loses its life. Yeah. Everyone knows you didn't mean to do it, or maybe, but negligence doesn't change the fact that it's a crime and that you should go to jail for it, because on your best day, you still did something, performed a catastrophic effect. It doesn't mean it's any less of a tragedy. But when a soldier does an ND, negligent discharge, after that, you will have sniggers around you for the rest of your career. Oh, don't point your weapon near me, mate. You can't be trusted with it. And
that's a big thing to lose, is the trust of your mates.
Yep. That's a tough one when we have the gender debates about the difference between males and females. The one thing men hold on to, which is different to the bonding that ladies have, is respect. Respect is a lot bigger deal to men. Once you don't have respect in the group, or someone is disrespecting you, we hear it all the time in prison sort of scenarios, or group dominated, male dominated spaces, that it can end up with fist fights beside the hot dog stand. Because you said something to me in front of my friends, and I have to show now that I'm not going to take a backward step. A father would rather his son cop a beating but stand up for himself than take being disrespected. It's because we know, at the end of the day, we don't get to leave Ukraine. We don't get to get on the life rafts. We have to stay on there, and you're meant to keep an upper lip. We're not meant to be able to make those feminine noises when we feel like we've hurt ourselves. If we get injured, we don't cry. Well, you're not allowed to, because we all know that if you ever cry and it's not because you've lost a friend or a dog, or a parent, you're never going to get romance again. You can't be dependent on in the hard times.
You can only cry on Anzac Day.
Yeah.
Maybe Remembrance Day.
I actually feel bad that I held my emotions in when my little girl was born. Yeah. Because that is an amazingly emotional time, where you make that weird facial expression that, what's happening now? It's called crying. Yeah. Sorry, aptitude test. Females don't belong in arms corps. A walking example as to why females can't do that. Males do when it comes to our makeup. I don't wear makeup. Yes, I do. I wore makeup for a living. It was called cam cream. Nicole got injured during her military time too. Nicole had a long career in the military as well. She has just had restorative surgery to basically put her hips back together again. I think what we never really talk about on here, NK, is when people hear us say that females should never go to infantry, and I agree with that. And when I have mentoring sessions with females that want to go to infantry, it's funny when people are in a crowd or when they've never served, they've got the biggest mouths, women and other people that have never served, that say, I know women that can. You go, mate, no one can until they show me they can. So whenever I mentor ladies on the bat phone who are as patriotic, who have as much of a calling as any man to join the military, we have a communication in a way on the bat phone that is respectful, but I give them all the truths, that they won't hear from DFR, and they realise that from a father of a daughter's perspective, I want them the best chance of having a career. Now, for any male that wants to go to infantry, I would say it is equivalent to having an NRL career. You will have injuries when you come out the arse end.
Yep.
But you know that, and you go in there and you willingly want to go down a path of something that is different. And we understand that life is about the scars you get. You wouldn't like lions if they didn't have the deep scratch marks on their snout when they were getting to that older age.
I reckon that analogy is perfect. If you went to the closest DFR waiting room near you and you did a poll of all the people sitting there and you said, how many of you guys think you could actually play in the NRL? And, you might get a few people to put their hands up, but that's a big thing. And then the guys who want to go Special Forces direct entry. How many of you guys could walk into the Queensland or New South Wales State of Origin team next week? Like that's the kind of level of physical preparation that you need to have.
Yep.
So you need to have thought about that, and you need to have prepared, because that's what infantry life is like. That's what Special Forces life is like. It is very, very physical. And like Kaz has just said, there is an exceedingly high chance that you will get serious injuries at some point. And it will test your resilience.
There's a reason why it's free medical. They expect you to get injured.
Exactly. And they don't, sorry, I'm about to say something I shouldn't say. But, you will get injured. Like, we've all been injured. I've hurt myself at times. And, Kaz has probably not got the best back in the world.
Well, the last thing I expected after all my homophobic jokes that I've given out in the past, that projecting would give me a lower bowel disease. I feel like going, I have never put so much as a little finger up my pencil case, and here I am with a lower bowel disease for the rest of my life. And you know what's worse, Dave? It's the only lower bowel disease you can have that doesn't get you a disability card to put on your car.
Yeah.
So you get one for Crohn's disease, but you don't get one for ulcerative colitis. Ulcerative colitis, team, I got that while I was over in East Timor. I won't go into the fine details, but let's just say I could not have gone through enough boxer shorts. I couldn't have carried enough. And since then, naturally, it's been a problem. It'll probably be my kryptonite as I get older as well. And if I die because of something that has attacked my cornhole internally, then maybe I deserve it for the years of joking around against Elton John and Ricky Martin. He bangs. He just never finished the sentence. He bangs men. Okay? But that's up to him. I don't care. It works for him. Don't care.
But you're not the only person who's gone through those environments with that result.
No.
So that, there's a fair few other people who've also got ulcerative colitis.
Yep.
Have come out of the same situation. So these things are the realities of service life. Like part of what we do is service. Service is taking your own best will for your future and subjugating that to the requirements of our sovereign responsibilities.
Yep.
That's saying that my priority is now not my own well-being. It's the well-being of not just my kids, but every kid who grows up in this country.
Yep.
And if that means that I get some kind of disease, some kind of whatever it is, that's what you accept. And that's part of service. Service is something we probably haven't talked a huge amount about, but it's a really important concept to understand when you're joining the ADF, that service is the first of the ADF values.
Yep. I totally agree. And it is proof of commitment to something bigger than yourself. It really is. I love talking to dream building with young adults all the time, children, asking them the little questions, making them feel important about themselves. What do you want to do when you get out of school?
Yep.
Think about it. What if your mum and dad had no say? It was just, what do you want to do? What would that be? And you see their eyes come alive because someone for the first time in their life has asked them what do they want to be. And if you feed and encourage that and give alternative ways for them to get there, kids will tell you they remember a conversation for the rest of their life of someone who made an impact with them. Talking about making an impact. We're about to have, it's the Queen's birthday weekend, yeah?
Yep.
Queen's birthday weekend. The Queen, although she was born on the 21st of April, she's about to turn 96, or she is 96 years old. I believe she is the longest serving leader, monarch, whatever you want to call the title, in the history of the world.
Yep.
So she was my boss and she was my dad's boss. How crazy is that? She was my dad's boss his entire career of 28 years in the army. And then when he got out and I joined, I was in for 24 years and she was in charge of me for the entire career I was in. This is a woman who worked in World War II and has been doing official engagements equivalent to going to a wedding every second day of her life for over 80 years.
Yeah, she has had appointments with the Prime Minister of the UK for, 70 years? Every single day.
It's insane. She's Navy veteran. She's his boss.
Yep.
If you're in the military, you might not have heard of this before unless you're in the military. You get caught saying something bad about the Queen, you can go to jail.
Not nice jail.
No.
Nasty jail.
Yeah, I tell you what, you don't want to go to DFC, the military jail. You do what you're told when you're told to do it. You shut the fuck up. You do exactly what you're told. You skip, you jump, whatever they tell you to do, because they can keep extending it. Keep extending it. It can be indefinite.
And pretty much every room you walk into, once you're in the Defence Force, every room you walk into will have a picture of the monarch up on the wall. We'll have the Queen.
In every mess, there is a picture of the Queen. When every formal dinner, we will turn around with our wives, with our girlfriends, with our mistresses, hopefully not all three at the same occasion.
Yep.
And there will be a time where we will turn around and the lights will go off and we will stand up and we will face the Queen and we'll give a formal toast to the Queen. And I tell you one thing, no one ever plays a game. There is no one that yells out. There is no tomfoolery when you're talking anything about the monarch, because she is our boss. So when they say, who's your boss? And you can't remember the colonel's name, you can't remember your major's name, you can't remember the chief of army's name, you go Queen Elizabeth II.
Yep.
That's who your boss is.
Yep.
And you guys that are getting in now are blessed, to get in as soon as you can and serve under the longest monarch in the history of the world, all countries inclusive, all time periods inclusive. This is your time because she hasn't got much time left and she deserves everything. And I hope that nothing is spared for her final days because she will not ever be replaced. Yep. And you don't know what you've got until you lose it.
I've never heard a bad word said about her, and I can't imagine my response to a bad word being said about her.
No, mine wouldn't be very nice either because people talk about all the time about who a powerful woman is. How come they never hold up the Queen? Yep. You go, this is a woman who stays out of the House of Commons, who doesn't get involved in intrigue, that has never allowed the power to go to her head, that represents better and more consistently than any of her children or grandchildren. Yep. We should not be trying to get rid of the monarch because there's nothing wrong with being part of your having customs and traditions. Alternatively, we could end up with a flag that makes us look like a laughingstock.
Yeah, well, the talk of changing the flag always gets me antsy because there's a lot of people who've had that flag over their coffin.
Yeah, that's right.
And that I just don't think you change that flag because of that reason alone.
There you go. Look at the Navy veteran. God save the Queen and her Australian and Armed Forces. Have a portrait of her in my office, and I always tell people to show respect to her, not me.
Yeah.
Queen Elizabeth, we love you. I love you. And one of the saddest things I've ever seen was when her husband died and she was in Westminster Abbey by herself. That really, really was hard to see. Yeah, we're going to get out of here, Simon. We're going to get out of here now. But enjoy this weekend. Spend it with your family, despite the fact that Queen Elizabeth II's birthday is 21st of April. The people that don't like her, there's no reason not to like her. And if you do some research, you'd appreciate it.
For those of you who are soldiers, every time you salute an officer, you're saluting the Queen. You're not saluting the person.
That's right.
Remember that.
This is my little girl who's calling me. I got to go. 2 seconds. Hey, hello.
Hi, I'm just ringing to say good night.
Good night, darling. Good night.
Good night.
We're going to say good night to Queen Elizabeth II while we have a long weekend for her.
I'm sleeping right now.
Okay, I love you. Thank you for a great day. I love you, darling. Bye-bye, sweetheart.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, I accidentally got rid of Dave then. So, guys and gals, you're probably thinking, holy shit, these guys are going on a little bit with this Queen stuff, but, it's more than just a band. She's, it could all, if someone says point to a strong woman, why don't you point someone that the strongest of them all, yeah. Anyway, guys, take it easy. Remember, no matter what's happening in our life, the worst day ever is no effect on mission. Okay, no effect on mission. And cold is when you cannot foresee the next time in the future where you'll actually be warm. Even when you get in your sleeping bag, which won't be long enough. Sleep is a soldier's gift. And after someone has been a soldier, they cherish sleep for the rest of their life like a dog loves a bone. If they've been in the military, you'll understand why. That's what Kaz fights for. That's right. Queenslander. All right, guys and gals, take it easy. And Rob Kent, he's got a foot like a bloody triangle at the moment in his industrial accident where his foot's been crushed. Can't walk properly for more than a week. That happened. Okay, let's see if we can't do something to make him feel a little bit happier. All the best to everyone out there, to Simon Powell, to Bruce, the gentleman you lost, to Nicole, to the young guy that died in the operation, to the story of the 2 soldiers where one got his Skippy badge. That's Zach, who passed hardcore yesterday while the rest of us were sleeping. Nutsu Cow, welcome, brother, to you now that you're with us. And to your mate who didn't do the work for the fitness to get in. Yep, you're paying the price now, son. And I'm sorry that you weren't on the mobile phone, getting yourself ready. See you, buddy. See you later. God save the Queen. Take it easy.